Hello and welcome back to episode 38 of the Fandom Podcast. I'm just here with Aaron at the moment. We are getting a guest on in a bit, but for now it's just us two for the first bit here. I think I'm going to start with Rings of Power. So we got 2 episodes this week. I wasn't expecting 2 actually. I don't know whether they announced that or not, but I thought there'd only be 1. And I've seen lots of criticism so far online. People saying that visually it's bad, it doesn't look good. People just saying it's too slow, it's uninteresting. I can kind of see where they're coming from with it being they're a bit slow. It's been a bit slow so far. I mean, especially these first 2 episodes, they're kind of just setting up where in the timeline this is, who these characters are, what's going on really, and what kind of the goals are going forward, like what the characters are trying to achieve throughout the show. So it has been a bit slow. I'd say I've really enjoyed it so far. I think the characters are quite interesting. Apart from the Half-Foots, I think they're called, they're not as interesting, I'd say, so far. But the elves and the dwarves, and the obviously humans or men, they're still interesting. Interesting characters. The orcs are really cool so far. They look really good. I mean, everything in the show looks really good. I think you can tell they've had a high budget and it's worked in their favour because it does look really good, I think. Yeah, it has been a bit slow, so there's not too much going on so far. I personally think it was really cool to see. I can't remember his name. The dwarf in episode 2, from The Hobbit. Is it Diorin or something? I can't quite remember what it is, but it's been really cool to see him at an earlier stage. Yeah, the elves, Galadriel at an earlier stage. That's cool. Interesting to see where the elves originally come from and how they got to Middle Earth. I thought that was an interesting bit. I mean, yeah, there's one particular sequence at the end of episode 2 where there's an orc and the orc attacks Bronwyn and her son. That whole fight scene was incredible. The kind of horror feel to it, just the whole, it was a really cool fight scene in my opinion. And if that's what it's going to be like going forward, then I can't wait. Yeah. I do think partially it's slow because they've got like 3 different storylines going on. But I feel like they are going to start to link together at some point, and come together. I can see with I think it's Elrond, the elf, him teaming up with the dwarves and to build the forge. I imagine that's how they're going to bring the rings into the show, because they're meant to be creating like a really powerful forge. So yeah, I imagine that's how they're going to create the rings and bring that into it. We've not seen too much of Sauron so far. I'm not too disappointed about that though, because with the orcs and all the stuff going on, you still kind of feel his influence over this world and feel his power, even if we don't actually see him. Yeah, that's about it, I think. I mean, it's just a really good show, I think, so far. I've never been a massive fan of Lord of the Rings. I've seen the films, but I've not liked it as much as other things like Marvel and Star Wars. But but this I found really interesting. I really enjoyed. I've seen rumors that the Stranger could maybe be a younger version of Gandalf. I'm not too sure about that personally. I'm not sure that's the way they'll go with it. I mean, it could happen. But I'm not sure they'll make Gandalf this really old, overgrown guy. Well, not overgrown. This old, weird guy that falls out of the sky. They could do. I know there's hints towards it, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say, really. Both episodes have been really good. If I had to give them an individual rating, I'd say episode 1's an 8 out of 10, and episode 2's an 8.5 out of 10. Episode 2 is slightly better in my opinion, but it was still, they're both good episodes, I'd say. And yeah, I just like getting more Lord of the Rings content, really. I think it's really cool getting more from this world. So yeah, that's Rings of Power. Okay, sorry about that. I had a couple of problems with my laptop. I mean, you probably won't have been able to hear Aaron so far. But we're back. And next we're going to be talking about She-Hulk. So do you want to start on that, Aaron?
Yeah, we're starting on She-Hulk episode 3 this week. So we had a fair couple of things to talk about in this episode. I'll give my main thoughts on it. It wasn't a great episode, I don't think. We start off with Jen explaining to Emil Blonsky about about the prison escape. And that's where we see, obviously referring to the Shang-Chi scene, where we get to see Abomination and Wong fighting. Blonsky says that Wong just basically got him out of there and escaped him from prison, which it feels like a little bit of a cover-up, I won't lie. It feels like it feels like he's been scripted to say that, so maybe there's something else he's hiding too. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we get to see the court. We get to see the court case between, with obviously Emil Blonsky and Wong. Wong explains how Abomination. Well, he had to get an Abomination to fight him for part of his Sorcerer Supreme training. So yeah, that's it seems like a justifiable reason, but the way they said it, I feel like there's probably some other big reason.
Yeah, it just, something doesn't feel right about it.
Yeah. But then again, it's Marvel. We could also be just wrong, and instead, they're just out living life.
Yeah, I mean, we did get tricked with WandaVision and Ralph Boner, Cena.
Yeah. So, where are we going? Anyway, later on in the episode, we see Jennifer get attacked by these henchmen kind of crooks, which apparently in the comics they're like the ultimate kind of henchmen, like the best of the henchmen. I think that's the best way to say it. And we see them attacking Jen with Asgardian weapons. My theory is, which would be interesting, is that the leader comes in, because as we see, they're trying to extract some of her skin or her blood.
Yeah.
And the leader, who we briefly see in the Incredible Hulk, well, not briefly, but we get a tease at him as we get to see a small scene where he gets some of Bruce Banner's blood. So
yeah, that could make sense.
That's interesting. Yeah. we might be able to see him later on in the episode. Maybe when some of the World War Hulk stuff starts to get into it, like the Sakaar and when we get to see Hulk back on Sakaar, and we might be able to get something out of the leader, maybe like a mention, something small, and he might pop up in like the last couple episodes. Who knows?
Yeah.
For the rest of the episode, very boring. We get to see the Asgardian elf, who I can't remember his name, but guys who in the first Jen's ex colleague.
Yeah.
Who's he called?
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember that anyway. Yeah, he was tricked by an Asgardian elf, believing that he was dating Megan Thee Stallion, who I'd never heard of up until now.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we get a bit of a side quest on that, and nothing really important comes of it. As the elf, the shapeshifter, she does a couple of things. Maybe that might come down. That might come into future later down the line. Like maybe when the government might be trying to file something against Asgard, potentially that might be brought up.
Maybe.
So it's something, yeah. I mean, no, I have a bit of a theory with Asgard. It's way off topic, but I think the Thunderbolts will be a government. Yeah, there'll be a government agency, like a government group of superheroes, and basically they'll want to bring down like superhuman groups. So I think they'll end up targeting New Asgard. Like they'll say that they're actually planning to take over Earth, something like that. So they'll send the Thunderbolts in to make it look innocent, and New Asgard will be destroyed.
Yeah, maybe. I could see something like that happening. Like I say, it's probably going to be a government aided thing. Government funded thing. I'd say you're probably on the right lines there. I could.
Yeah, I think it would make sense. Whether we actually see something to do with Thunderbolts as well. Obviously, Abomination, who's theory, in theory, meant to be in Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Definitely need
Yeah,
something to do with Thunderbolts at the end of this. For Abomination, like you say.
Other than that, we didn't really get anything else from this episode.
Like I say, it was okay, but it wasn't the best. I guess it was kind of cool to see Abomination again. Cool to see Wong, but then this version of Wong was almost a bit stupid. He
was a bit goofy, if you could say.
I can start to see why critics have been saying they don't like how all the characters are just being say goofy and silly.
I get what you mean. They're kind of they're there to serve their purpose, and then they're being tossed aside. Abomination, he's meant to be the main kind of character, like the second character of these couple of episodes, and it just feels like
instead of seeing more of some Asgardian elf that no one really cares about.
It's just that some of these characters are being tossed to the side. They should have focused more on Abomination. That's what I was trying to get.
I reckon we will see more of Abomination, later on, in the series. I don't reckon it'll serve a massive role, but like I say, maybe something to set him up for Thunderbolts. Just something to do with him probably. But yeah, they're just kind of they're there, like you say, to serve their purpose. They make them kind of goofy and silly to fit in with the tone of the show, and then they kind of just toss them to the side. So they're not handling these really cool characters in the best way so far.
I get this is meant to be a comedy show, but at the end of the day, it's Marvel, and we still expect good from them, not characters that are important to the MCU just being tossed aside.
Yeah. Apart from that, I think you said a lot here, really. There wasn't that much else to it. I mean, they're only half-an-hour episodes, so there's not.
No,
you can't get that much from it.
They do feel a bit short, to be honest.
Yeah, there are.
You know, like they don't even feel half an hour.
There are 9 episodes, but like you say, they're quite short episodes, and they're doing it quite.
I mean, there was 9 episodes. There was 9 episodes of WandaVision, to be fair, but that still managed to keep a good storyline.
Yeah.
Well, great storyline even, and had hour-long episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say the same about Daredevil. That had like 13 episodes per season and still had hour-long episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of Daredevil, when do you reckon he'll show up? Because there could be.
We've had what, 3 episodes now?
Yeah.
So I reckon probably around episode. I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, somewhere around there-ish, I'd say.
It's quite tough, to be honest. I mean, there's just. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I still can't see a main storyline really out of this. Like, I can't see
there'll be
end goal of like what they're trying to accomplish by the end of the show.
There'll be a bunch of side quests, and then like the last couple of episodes, they'll finally file down to a storyline, and then that's what they'll stick to.
Still got to see the frog man as well. I think that's his name. I don't know, some frog dude. Yeah, he was in the trailers a bit. I'm kind of hoping we see more of Wong, because Wong's just cool.
We haven't really got anything else to say on that, so do you want to give a final review? Well, overall rating of the episode?
I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Alright, but like not the best.
Yeah, I'll go for a 6 out of... that's 5.5 out of 10.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, next up, we have the Elvis film to talk about.
Yes.
So I'll quickly just grab on our guest now. If you want to quickly pause the video.
Yeah, I can do that. So we'll pause it here for a second. Okay, so we're back with our guest, Qais, and we're going to be talking about the Elvis film. So, Qais, do you want to give your general thoughts on it?
Yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty good representation of Elvis's life. I really liked the bit at the beginning where it shows how Elvis's family had a rough time, growing up because of the lack of money, and that they grew up around a neighborhood of black people where there was like jazz music, and how I just loved the bit where Elvis got inspired by the music that the black people produced. It was just amazing. And then later on in the film, it shows how Elvis kind of adopted the nature of black people through the moves, and it later on lead to the problem where white people did not like Elvis because of his vulgar moves, so he kind of had a lot of trouble trying to get up on stage. I mean, it really did a lot of that throughout the film, and then, Elvis made a comeback, and people loved him again. It's really nice how they, kind of showed it. It was perfect for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say lots of the same things, to be fair. Like I say, it's a good representation of his life. I think it was never really too boring to say it was like 2 hours 40 minutes long. I was interested through the whole thing. Going into it, I didn't really know much about Elvis. I don't know what either of you two did, to be fair.
I didn't know anything about Elvis coming into this either, so yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I got a good understanding of his life. Oh, bit of disruption here.
Yeah.
You kind of get a good understanding of his life. You learn a lot about his backstory. Like Qais said, how he was influenced by like the black community he grew up around. Troubles he dealt with. It leaned a lot into his manager actually. He was played by Tom Hanks, so I think again did a very good job.
I think he plays Colonel Tom Parker, I believe, who's the immigrant.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Tom Hanks did a great job. So did the guy that played Elvis. I don't know his name.
Austin Butler.
Yeah, Austin Butler. He did a great job as well, I think. It was just it keeps you entertained all throughout. It's one of these like films that goes through one of these artist journeys. They always manage to make them really interesting. It was a bit different from usual. It had its own sort of style to it, some sort of feel to it, and yeah, I thought overall it was a really good film. I don't know whether you've got anything to add, Aaron.
I
really
thought,
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just thought, oh wow, there's not really, it's National Cinema Day, tickets will be cheap. Let's just go watch Elvis, because I've heard only good reviews about it. So I didn't expect it to be the length it is. Apparently, it was meant to be longer in the original cut. So fair enough. But I'll be honest, I don't know what much else they could have added in. I thought it was brilliant. Somebody they explained his life perfectly. Obviously, me, I knew nothing about Elvis coming into this. I never knew how he grew up in Memphis, how he adopted black music, how and even the later stages of his life as well, when obviously he basically gets manipulated by Colonel Tom, even though probably I think after the death, after he sent him away to Germany to go fight for the army. That's probably when Elvis, you just think to yourself, oh, why wouldn't Elvis just get rid of Colonel Tom at that point? But there it is. That's just the way things turned out. But it felt like its own original kind of movie, and that's what I love about these kind of all like biography films. You just they explain his life perfectly in a film. That's pretty much it.
I felt like the end bit was the most heartwarming bit I had ever seen in my life. Partially because of Elvis was he was hit hard by love. Like his wife left him, his kids left him because I think he was on pills, and he was shooting guns in the end as well. He was getting uncontrolled. Yeah, it's really sad, the end. I mean, I almost cried. It was lovely.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say about this film negatively is that I just don't think there was enough of his music in it, personally. I know they did use a fair amount, but I feel like they just repeated the same tracks a bit.
I think that's a valid point, to be honest. I mean, if it's a film about Elvis, unlike films like Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody, they use all of their songs very much. They'll probably go for like a whole album, maybe like the greatest hits or whatever. But we didn't get much songs. We maybe got like 4, 5 or 6. I think he's the best solo singer of all time. The best solo singer. You'd expect at least like 12 or 13.
Yeah, especially with it being that long as well. I just feel like he could have done with some more of his music.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not taken away from it, but that's one thing I'd probably change about this film.
Yeah, I love the scene that started the film as well. It was close enough, where you get to see Elvis first on stage, and for like 30 seconds, he just looks like a completely lost kid, and you hear on in the background, Colonel Tom say, "This is when I saw like Elvis become a man," or like something along those lines. And then he just starts going absolutely crazy, and that's probably going up there in the top 5 kind of movie scenes this year, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the film it's a really good representation of Elvis's life, I'd imagine. And yeah, it just tells the story really well.
Yeah.
I love how right at the end after countless times Tom Parker says it's because of security. It's because of security. I love the way you find out eventually it's because Colonel Tom Parker is an immigrant. He doesn't have a passport, and that's why he doesn't want Elvis Presley to go overseas and perform in different countries, which really exposes the truth behind why a lot like Tom Parker not sending him to presenting him to the rest of the world. He wants to keep him under control in American states.
Yeah, I find it a bit of a weird one with Tom Parker because you can see him as quite manipulative. I think that's how they're trying to show him in this film, manipulative. He lies about who he is, like you say. He manipulates Elvis, but at the same time,
they show him as a good guy at the start of the film. I think that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, and also throughout it, like he always tries to do what's best for Elvis in lots of situations. Obviously, he manipulates him a lot, so not always. But in a lot of situations throughout the film, he does what's best for Elvis as like an artist, I'd say. Like he's trying not to get him like seen as this horrible guy that everyone hates. Yes, he is stopping him from kind of being himself almost, but at the same time, he's trying to help him in a way. Probably only for him to still get monetary gain out of it, to be fair, but he's still kind of doing what's best for Elvis.
Yeah, so I don't think we have much else to say on that. Anyone got anything else to add? Qais?
Nothing really, other than a spectacular film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right then. So, Qais, what do you rate this film out of 10?
Because of some scenes not being very accurate to his, real life, I probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Josh?
I've gone for a 9 out of 10.
Okay. I'll also give it a 9 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyed this film. Okay then. So we didn't really get much news this week. I mean, if you have anything.
No, not that I know of. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, more news for next week. Then I'll go back and have a look. Have a look for a few things. So
yeah, we have Disney Plus Day and D23 this week coming. So should have plenty of news next week. Yeah, so next week we should be back with more She-Hulk, more Rings of Power.
And hopefully some trailers.
Yeah, plus obviously lots of news from, like I said, Disney Plus Day and D23. Maybe Rick and Morty episode 1, season 6 episode 1.
I also need to check when Cobra Kai.
To do that individually.
I need to check when Cobra Kai season 5 comes out.
Yeah, that's a good point. We might have that soon, depending on obviously when it comes out. But yes. Thanks for watching, everyone. And bye.
See you next week. Goodbye then.